Most control doesn't arrive as pressure. It arrives as comfort and stays because it feels familiar. You don't feel dominated. You feel slightly uncertain, guilty, careful with your words. And the person creating this never raised their voice once. Before we begin, if you've noticed this pattern before but couldn't name it, subscribe now. This channel exists for people who recognize what others miss. A colleague, we'll call her Maya, worked under a manager named Steven for 2 years. Steven never yelled, never made threats. In fact, he was known for being calm, reasonable, even supportive. But Maya found herself dreading Monday mornings, not because of workload, because of silence. When she made decisions without consulting him first, Steven wouldn't reprimand her. He'd just go quiet. His responses would shorten. Meetings would end faster. She'd feel the distance, subtle, but unmistakable. And within days, she'd find herself apologizing, asking for his input on things she'd handled independently for months. When she tried setting boundaries, leaving at 6 p.m. instead of 8, he didn't object. He just stopped including her in strategic conversations, stopped mentioning her contributions in leadership meetings. Then, when she'd work late again, the warmth returned, the recognition came back. She was in again. Maya couldn't point to a single abusive moment. Steven never violated policy. He was never inappropriate. But her behavior had completely reorganized around his emotional availability. This is covert behavioral conditioning. The mechanism is intermittent reinforcement combined with withdrawal of emotional resources. Steven wasn't controlling Maya's actions directly. He was controlling the emotional consequences of her actions. Autonomy led to coldness. Compliance led to warmth. Over time, her nervous system learned the pattern faster than her conscious mind did. Silence became punishment. Not because it was intended that way, but because it created anxiety. And anxiety drives behavior modification more effectively than explicit demands ever could. There's no confrontation to process, no clear boundary violation to name, just emotional weather that shifts based on alignment. And because the shifts are unpredictable, sometimes he's warm even when she sets boundaries, sometimes distant even when she complies. Her brain stays hypervigilant, scanning for approval, preemptively adjusting. This is power asymmetry built on emotional leverage. The person with less need for the relationship controls it. You recognize this dynamic because there's no single moment to point to, no smoking gun, no witnesses, just patterns. They withdraw affection after closeness. They reappear only after distance. They give breadcrumbs instead of clarity. They make you feel too sensitive for noticing the shifts. They change course only when you're about to leave, just enough to keep you questioning whether you're overreacting. And because their control never looks aggressive, you feel responsible. You start managing your own emotional reactions to avoid triggering theirs. You stop asking for things. You tolerate uncertainty. You become smaller. Not because they demanded it, but because it feels safer than the alternative. This isn't about bad intentions. Some people do this consciously. Others learned it as survival. But intent doesn't change the mechanism. Control is present whether it's strategic or unconscious. Awareness isn't confrontation. It's noticing when your emotional reactions are being managed. When your behavior shifts before your values do, control is already present. If this pattern felt familiar, you already understand why this channel exists. Subscribe if you're done pretending discomfort isn't data.